All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Oshinoko, Season 2, Episode 9. Painful acting.
Yeah. Yeah. Acting that comes from the deepest trauma that ever could be.
Yeah.
Losing your mother. Your the one that was your heart.
She brought you into this world, and she held you as she left it.
Yeah. And very brutal, well-drawn
Yes,
style as well.
In a way that was artistically poignant and fantastic.
Fucked up us, too.
Right, but you know, Aqua as a person, that's something he's got to deal with. And he's dealing with it now in his own sort of way.
In his own very specific way, that is true.
Yeah.
He hates acting.
Right.
He
of course
will
he does.
not enjoy it. In fact, he will actively make sure he does not enjoy it.
Right.
At least that's what he's resolved to do up until now. So let's see if maybe, something about this performance as a whole, or at least doing this with other people. Maybe not the act of the acting itself, but maybe acting with other people can change your perspective on it.
Right.
Maybe. Who's to say?
Maybe.
But yeah, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this.
Oh. Okay.
Ruby just knocked out in the back.
Wow.
Oh, and even more is combined in there. Yep. Whoa, the animation.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh.
Yeah, he let the demon out. Let the Oni run wild.
Okay, what if he picked up Saya's sword?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
I mean, that's what we would like for him. Holy shit.
Oh. Right. Nice.
Yeah.
No Goro, just a scared little child. Yep.
Right.
Oh.
I am really curious how this fight's gonna end, actually. Oh.
Whoa. Yeah, it's not an easy win for our protagonist here.
Well, and the difference, like, thematically of will Aqua die or will Aqua kill?
Holy shit.
Oh.
Whoa, my god. Okay. Yeah, that was the green light. Oh, that's
Nice.
so cool. Right. What if?
Yeah. Right. What if fate could be changed?
Or just the way you view it.
Right.
Oh. Oh, God, the animation,
Here's the acting.
Yeah.
Not the fight. This.
Oh.
Yeah. And when do they change the visuals? Cut to the play. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, even Akane's taken aback.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep. All right. All right.
Oh.
Nope. She's
No,
not
just-
thinking about acting right now.
It's just great. It's just really overwhelming. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, Ruby gets a glimpse at what it's really like.
Ah.
実際に天才って言われてる人を見ればわかる。あの時の黒川茜は異質だった。さや姫の演技だけじゃなく、別の何かも乗っていた。
Whoa, cool.
Even Kana could see it.
それをきっかけに、アクアの演技
No.
が振り切れるほどに。
Right. It was the way that he saw her, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. No, of course,
Yeah.
of course. Keep bringing your all to each one, yeah.
But also saying it out loud so she'll hear it.
稽古期間に伸びるやつが多かったんだよ。本番中、化けるやつもいるくらいに。有馬くんのことかな。アイドル活動が別の視点を与えたのか。それとも彼氏でもできた。
No, not exactly, no.
ズバリ可愛さの説得力さ。
The lie.
それと同じ。私は特別に可愛いという嘘を信じさせてくれる説得力。
Okay.
それをスター性と呼んで。
Bro's like, I'm about to do a persuasive analysis on Moe.
Right.
あと個人的に気になるのは。
Yeah.
Yeah.
この時間が一番好き
Right.
だ Oh.
観客がいい顔をして帰っていくのをこうやって眺めているの。
Mm-hmm.
こうしてひとまず舞台の幕は降りる。
All right.
Oh.
次の物語の舞台は
Okay.
All right. Nice.
We get to see the end credits.
We get
for
the
play.
credits. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got to see them take the bow.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
so they
sweet.
recorded it beforehand so they can actually like slide between the bows.
Right.
That's awesome.
Right, and they all fall in line. Cool.
Nice. The two of them together, that's cool.
Yeah, good. Kana. That's amazing. Oh,
Yeah. The sparks going through her eyes.
yeah. Well, now the opening is basically concluded.
No.
Oh, what a surprise.
さんも行く？
Pops.
Oh, cool.
なんで使いませんよ。
It's got a Dempsey roll
How about you,
going there.
Aqua?
私は帰って休む。
Yep.
やっぱ私も行く。
He's got to get DNA.
Right.
Yeah.
その場その場で見せて
Yeah.
演じるんじゃなくて。
That's amazing.
しなきゃいけないよ。
She totally is the kind of person to do that.
Yep.
Yep.
ララライの代表兼演出家でこの劇団に長く席を置いている。
Mm-hmm.
そこだろうね。愛が恋をしたのは。
金田一さんってララライにいつ頃からいるんですか？
最初からだ。
Damn. The
Wow.
beginning.
駅専門学校で芝居をやってた奴らが自分たちで
Whoa.
Okay. Wow.
That's awesome. Oh, and there's
Yeah,
Kaburagi.
ワークショップで集めた人材使って何公演か回して。まあ、あれは失敗だったかな。若い頃の失敗だ。詮索するな。
Ah,
教えてください。
you're prying.
子供にするような話じゃねえ。
任せろ。俺もおすすめしよ
Allow me. Nice.
う。金田一さん、やさかいで飲みましょう。
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
可愛い女の子に継がれた酒は飲み干すもんだ。
That's
酔わせておっさんの恥ずかしい。
yeah.
やり口悪いな。モデルとかアイドルとか顔が良くても食えないやつは多い。そういうやつが事務所にない。会員制だからバレるリスクも少ない。結構多いぞこういう店。その感じ。
はい飲んでねえな姫川。
バレた。
知らずがここまで育ててやってあげるよ。
For bringing you up, yeah. Okay, yeah.
俺は養護施設出身でさ、施設出た後
Wait.
Okay.
Wait.
Oh.
A children's home.
お前たちの芝居は似ている。欠けてる人間の演技だ。まともな人間じゃない。真人間のふりをしている。
Whoa.
Okay.
He's got a good read, too.
Yeah.
惜しいな。お前はつまらん演技。
Yeah, what was that performance?
Yeah.
だが終盤の演技、本物の感情が見えた。
Probably stood out even more because he was so like neutral and stoic before.
すまんな。おっさんの覚悟。
Yeah, that'll take some time.
Okay.
いいですよ。
All right, now casually pluck a hair.
遺伝子鑑定書。俺と姫川さん
What?
父親が同じなんですよ。教えてくれませんか。あなたの父親のこと。
Oh my god.
Oh, shit.
Oh my god.
Oh, let's
That's
go.
huge.
Oh, my gosh.
That's where we're ending it.
I can't believe it.
Of all the developments I thought we'd get, that was...
Right.
Oh, but they even talk the same way.
They do, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Oh my god.
That was...
Oshi no Ko giving us an actual lead here for
Yeah.
the dad. And the idea that, okay, one of your co-stars here, you grabbed everybody's DNA. Like, you're
Right.
looking at
He's
everything.
thorough.
He's thorough.
Yeah.
Okay, they share the same dad, which is interesting because in a lot of ways, the part that this makes me think is that they could be tied to the same, children's home or what have you, or it's that they were both basically orphans that came into the entertainment industry and thus had the same kind of people, just overall nurturing them in some way, which could point towards Kindaichi, which could be interesting. Or he's like, no, I have no idea who my dad is,
Right, and I get the feeling that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting that it wasn't... Now, I don't know enough about DNA for this, but it wasn't that it's high possibility that individuals are half-siblings who share the same a parent. It's the same biological father specifically.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's
DNA
not,
gets that specific. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I love the idea that they then know, basically, we're definitely, half brothers, basically. That's a
Right.
cool little detail there.
Yep.
But it's not necessarily an immediate lead towards anybody specifically. But it is a cool thing if he ends up having come from the same children's home that I was from. Because
Right.
if that's the case, then, oh boy, there's some very specific things that could
Right.
be being hinted at.
It makes sense that Kindaichi, after they discovered would maybe go back to the same place to see,
Maybe.
in with the idea of if the hardships caused them to be able to emotionally adapt to or perform basically for the people around them so that they were okay, then that might give them some innate talent.
The verbiage that he uses of basically having a vacancy or something that needs filling, and that makes sense because basically they need something to cling to, some kind of anchor that can be their guiding light in a storm, basically. Here. And if life is the storm, they're gonna put everything into that light that you give them. So in some ways, it's a little bit gross in that it's basically saying oh, cool, wonderful, I can mold and shape you exactly as I need you.
It's very utilitarian.
Well, it's very manipulative too. Also, is what it is basically saying I can make this child basically become a superstar actor by basically just shoving down their throat.
I mean, that's a very that's a very like
No, it's not a generous
tinted
read.
way of
no, I
looking at
agree.
it, you know?
I don't.
Yeah.
I totally agree, and I
Okay.
do not care. This is kind of the thing where I feel like people that go to children's homes in some ways and stuff like that are looking to adopt in some ways. I have a very skeptical view of a lot of them.
sure, yeah.
And that's because a lot of the people that go to adopt sometimes are just trying to use the kids, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are a lot of kids that need adopting, so I'm grateful to that.
Right.
You know, these kids are finding homes and families and stuff. But I think I'm more just suspect of Kindaichi in general, given that he does seem to be the kind of person that's like, oh, I take credit for basically having nurtured you into the star that you are today. And I think if he was,
I think the implication that the show is giving is that there was definitely that part of him that's like, okay, I maybe realized that I could do again possibly what happened with in a different way.
Well, again, I wasn't found by Kindaichi. I was completely separate from Kindaichi. All that it was that I was found by the head of Strawberry Productions, the guy that ended up leaving, remember?
Oh, okay.
So Kindaichi has
Gotcha.
nothing to do
All right.
with finding I.
Gotcha.
So
Okay,
that's what happened there. And she ended up then basically finding the desire to act or perform, if you will, become an idol, because of the idea that she could then lie enough saying, I love you, that it would end up potentially being real. And that's why basically she ended up doing it. Now, what's probably the case is that Kindaichi knows of Ai's story and that she came from that area. It might have come to the same conclusion from that regard there, but that's not not something we know.
She went to La La Lai to hone her acting so that she could be a performer for the purpose of being an idol, not honed her acting and performance and then was discovered and turned into an idol.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
So in that respect, also just a little good thing to remember is that I was not an actor until she had been an idol for a consistent amount of time. So her also La 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 stuff could have happened long after she had been an idol, because she ends up taking a whole bunch of side gigs and stuff to just boost her overall popularity.
Sure.
So that feeds back into her going and becoming stronger as an idol. But I am loving that we are using this whole idea of the children's home, which could just conveniently be the same one that
that I was at.
Yes. I'm trying to find his name here. Kindaichi's adoptive son. We have a whole bunch of ones for the.
Oh, right.
For the. Basically the guy that played the protagonist.
Well,
yeah.
And for what it's worth, this might be incorrect, but there's the possibility that it's not an actual, like, he didn't actually adopt the kid, that it was the, I take an interest in you and I mentor you and all that stuff and yada yada from a young age.
Legally, he's maybe not, he's not necessarily adoptive and stuff.
Right, it's the I helped you grow in this business, and so, there's a certain dynamic there for sure. But,
for sure. Yeah, definitely possible that it's not a legal adoption and stuff like that.
Right, mentorship versus actual, like, father.
Right.
But yeah, that is not the kind of development that I expected of it, like that he actually gets info because of one of the people his age.
Yeah.
But it totally makes sense.
It does,
because if you have all of this stuff that happened way back when, then it makes sense that there could, like, if someone in the industry got with one of the performers, then it totally stands to reason that they would have gotten with another performer as well, right? And so then there could be another child out there, and hey, you found one. Okay.
Right, and that's also a fun little thing that could be gotten into is the idea that there are these men in the entertainment industry that are just kind of fucking their way through Hollywood, the equivalent.
Sure.
And they're just basically creating, basically kids that are abandoned by, by the purpose of doing this. And there could be more. There could be plenty more. Also, a little fun detail is he says, I spent time in a children's home after I got out. Kindaichi-san looked after me in more ways than one. Meaning that in some ways, this is an even better read for Kindaichi, is that he didn't go to the children's home with any intent ever. Like, he he was already out of that world and everything. So it might have been it might have really been an entire coincidence with the children's home connection there. But we'll see in the next episode. But, cool plot twist. Very, very fun, natural plot twist that doesn't feel like it's going to immediately solve the plot, but is also just going to give us a fun little,
Yes.
thread to pull on.
And I love that we, in addition to the whole idea of, oh, hey, same bio dad, that can be a source of information, the idea that our boy is also wanting to get information from Kindaichi. I like the idea of Aqua having accomplices, basically, for their own different reasons.
Oh, totally.
Like, that just seems fun and dynamic and can help that side of the plot continue.
For sure.
Especially given that, like, it might take a lot for that to happen, given
Definitely.
that Aqua's wanting to, murder and mash and, destroy and give a fate worse than death, right, to the person that he's searching for. That, on its own, might not be something that gets him a lot of allies. So, yeah. But okay.
Yeah. I liked also this little thing in here of the mistake being that we used people we got through our workshops and put on a number of performances, basically. Like
Right.
It was a tough kind of thing of basically like finding talent, basically, to do everything there. And that led to some mistakes, which is like, oh, cool. So that has not necessarily anything to do with, all this stuff here, but it sounds like the kind of stuff that Oshinoko tends to write its plot around, which is the idea of mistakes being made in the behind-the-scenes aspects of the entertainment industry.
Right.
And this feels like way more of an organic kind of thing, not like really in the industry. It's just
like
a club,
grassroots
basically.
like thing that's trying to get going, and then they don't think about all the implications. And where
Right.
I would think ways in which that could go wrong, that could have relevance to like the story that we've had thus far.
Right.
So, using people that go to your workshops and have them become performers in like bigger productions. Okay. Like, I see how that would work if you didn't have maybe enough people, or you needed like a certain kind of person for a role or something.
Sure.
Cool. But maybe that causes drama behind the scenes with the other cast members. That could be something where maybe you're letting people that aren't properly vetted or trustworthy into the process.
Well, there's also there's also the money side of it too, because if they're paying for these workshops and they're coming in here and doing this and stuff like that, you could end up with a weird form of like people paying their way into
to try and get an application,
to get a job and a gig. That feels kind of corrupt potentially.
Right. And it's and specifically what I'm thinking about is what are the things that they wouldn't have thought of when they're trying to get people to come in. Right. That then as it becomes like a machine,
full company.
a full company, they're like, oh wait, that's actually problematic. Hang on.
Right. I think what it would be is that you would have the people that would perform end up becoming some of the actual leadership people in the company, and you could have the transition from club to people now have shares equivalent.
Oh yeah,
to then people who were just the ones that got those roles at specific times being able to push out some of the other people.
Forget hostile takeovers in a purely business standpoint. If you do it from this is a sort of a startup basically.
Yeah.
And then people come in, pay for the workshop.
Basically our customer.
And then do the things so that they can get inside, right? And that could go all kinds of bad.
Yeah, it feels like the kind of thing that wouldn't have good boundaries, basically, set up. And
I wouldn't be surprised, even though it doesn't have to be this, I would not be surprised if he was maybe specifically thinking about like, oh yeah, something related to right? Like,
okay. I feel like almost this reveal makes it more of a thing that he wouldn't necessarily have have had much to do with really. Like,
oh yeah?
Yeah.
Well, because I thought that was what they were setting up he's been there the entire time. So like he absolutely, because also.
But that feels like the beginning in a lot of ways.
No.
Like that looked like it was decades ago.
No,
like,
right. But
I would
take into account.
Oh, okay.
Well, Aqua's what, 15? So it would have been before he was born, right?
Oh, right, but
so that already is taking it quite a ways back.
Just a little reminder here. Mm-hmm. I died around the time of him being about 5 years old.
Right.
Like around that time, basically.
Yeah.
So when she had
I'm not necessarily meaning like the idea of her death, more of the idea of like the fact that she ended up like getting with somebody in the industry and all that.
Well, right, but we can literally map out the time, not just with that, but where her actual acting stuff would have even come in at all, because she was brought in to this whole idol industry side of things like barely before high school. Like she's like 14 or something back then.
And so she starts to become an idol as they're like, oh, she's actually pretty good. Let's make sure that she's properly taught.
Right. But that's the thing that's not clear. We don't know whether La La Lai was before she actually becomes a full-fledged idol, or whether it was when she starts doing all of her performance stuff in order to get ready to become an actor.
I feel like it would make sense that it would have been before her full debut, because being an idol is a form of acting. It's putting on a performance. And so they'd, if you see someone with talent and you're like, oh, hey, we're going to do this thing that is very much a production, you'd want to properly train your main star.
Right. But I would say then, personally, that the person that she's was in a relationship with was more likely than not someone who was closer to her age.
Sure.
And if you have a 14, 15-year-old coming in to the studio basically thing inside of that there, I don't think these guys who would have been around 30 at the time would have been trying to date you necessarily.
Hopefully not.
No, I know, but statistically unlikely. It's
Well, and so here's what I'm wondering. I feel like there's multiple. So people from workshops becoming part of their actual productions, that being problematic.
Yes.
That could be problematic in that if it's related to like I and the dad, that it was both of them coming into the workshops. It could be that it was just one of them.
Sure.
And when I think about ways in which it could be problematic, if you have a kid come in to learn at your place, and then, oh, hey, you end up like working with them in a professional capacity, that in and of itself can cause complications, right? To say nothing of then if they end up getting in a relationship, especially under the table or something with people from that location. You know?
Okay, if we're going to bring up the relationship side of things in that respect, then the one that also just immediately just flies up as a red flag here is that these workshops don't have to be necessarily some big group thing. They could be, and I'd say efficiency-wise, that most likely was a group.
But if then private lessons start happening.
If any of it was one-on-one, and you've got an instance there with a power dynamic of like an adult man and a teenage girl, it gets all kinds of fucked up potentially.
Right.
So what we have to go on with regards to I's ex, basically, is that she did call him.
Right.
Meaning that I don't believe necessarily that it was a horrific situation that led to the birth of. I don't think it was non-consensual, basically.
Right.
I think that was something that they both genuinely liked each other. The thing that I think would be, still potentially non-consensual from a legal standpoint is that there might have been an age gap.
Right.
But I don't think that's what we're leaning towards here. I think that it was another younger performer, probably another teen guy coming into this whole situation here.
Right.
And they end up, falling in love. Acting is dramatic. There's lots of
Oh yeah. I mean, like there was a whole episode of Critical Role where they were just joking about the idea of how freaky people would get in the behind the scenes rooms at theater groups.
Oh yeah.
Like it's
totally.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Sure.
So the idea that that's likely where she fell in love, just little detail there. Kaburagi is the one that said that. Kaburagi was at La La Lai's origins.
Okay.
So the idea that he says that's likely, but didn't know who it was.
What did he say? That's likely and didn't know.
That's likely where I fell in love with somebody, basically.
Gotcha.
But if he's there and he doesn't know who it is, then it was a very secret relationship. Like it was very not the relationship didn't form there. It was more that she had a connection with somebody at the production.
Okay.
The relationship happened way later.
Right, and another thing that is worth pointing out, just because there's something where they realize there's the danger of something happening because of how they have things go, doesn't necessarily mean that that is what ended up happening, right? And so it could just be the, oh, shit, yeah, like, you hear about something bad that happens somewhere else in your industry, and you're like, oh, fuck, we totally have a space where that could happen here, too. We need to change that, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have a very fun story meta spotlight put on Kindaichi and Kaburagi by their connection to Lalai's origins and the time that I spent there being one that correlates to the person that she ended up sleeping with and having Aqua and Ruby.
Yep.
The whole web is starting to have borders here, meaning that the puzzle and its corners and its sides are almost entirely defined. We know where the puzzle is going to fully coalesce into. We don't know whose face is going to be on it.
I'm curious, since you've been going through the first season again, do you remember if it was mentioned when I came in and she was pregnant, how old she was?
Around 16, I think.
Okay.
So she's probably had the kid by about 17.
And that would have been also then pretty early in her, like, you know, the time that it would have taken to meet this person and all that stuff. It would have definitely been early in, like, her idol career and all that stuff.
No, she was a full idol already at this point.
No, right. But, like, if, you know.
Oh, yeah. But
like, getting to the point where she's about to give birth, but then also before that, the time to meet the guy.
No, totally. You're right. But I'm just saying that in a lot of ways here, I might be wrong about some of the exact years, y'all, and we'll get this confirmed with our Discord and everything like that. But I did not live to see 21 or 20, I think it was. So
damn.
So I might be wrong that Aqua reached 5. He might have been only like 3.5 or 4 at the time.
Given that he's a reincarnated adult,
he probably seemed older than he was, basically.
Yeah, which would add just to the eerie factor of, you know, I'm going to be a creepy kid, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was a whole point about us being like very close to one of Ai's birthdays. It was either that she was 20, about to turn 21, or she was 19, about to turn 20. Damn. And then she was about to go to the Dome production. The big, like, she was going to have her first Dome performance. And that's why Strawberry Productions fell apart and everything, was because of all this investment that went into this. And right there, she died. Which I do want to say, I've always kind of like thought about this in the back of my mind, but if we want to go real tinfoil hat theory, real tinfoil hat theory, is that the person that basically
was established and then what hasn't been in this show since then?
Oh, no. That's no. He's completely fine. It killed his whole career. Like, no, not that. Just the idea that she was about to give this performance.
Gotcha.
And the very same morning when it's going to happen, she dies. That feels to me
like a potential, like a professional sabotage.
That feels to me like a professional sabotage. And the only persons, and I say persons, that had any theoretical animosity towards Ai that the story directly hinted at was her idol co-stars back when she was in the group. Because there were some talks about her having favoritism and that they were ultimately just wanting to platform Ai to go solo.
I will say that would also be pretty neat, because then you could have a situation where then Aqua is like, okay, I need to exact my vengeance. And it's so you're going to go ambush an idol at her home and knife her, you know, right? Like, you know, like, is that what you're going
to do?
Like, you know, like it could get to the point where it's like, no, you're just going to be exactly like Ai's killer, basically.
And I wanted to bring this up basically as a thing because as we get closer to Kindaichi and Kaburagi, for instance, the more and more I suspect their innocence.
Yeah.
The more and more I suspect their potential negligence led to some things with regards to the theater company. But I don't think necessarily that the guilty party has to be the ex, theoretically.
Oh, yeah. I think it's more likely that it isn't.
Yeah,
I think it's something where Aqua is understandably assuming that that's the case.
Right, it's a logical assumption to make.
Yep.
But given that he had such a very high view of a lot of things with regards to the idol industry and how like secretive they were with regards to ice stuff and everything, and how perfectly they had done their due diligence to make sure that nobody knew that those were ice kids, we're already starting to undercut that a little bit by having the director just be like, no, I knew. It wasn't hard for me to figure out. Now, he might have his own sussy things or what have you.
Sure.
But, well, before we overcook this steak too much, I just want to throw out the idea that it would also be narratively powerful to have Aqua's journey that he's on be focused in the wrong direction, because that is very integral to his character and his character's development.
So something that I also want to point out, we ended up stopping the frame on the, I know you're fond of letting your cast do as they please, but you can't be causing trouble at the studio.
Right.
Clearly he's talking about the actual play, right?
Right.
You know, with the way it went down and all that
Kaburagi
stuff.
talking to Kindaichi.
Yeah, exactly. But that line screams to me of the, you know, I know you're fond. It's
I know your past of what you like to
This
let
is
the
a
cast do.
repetition of past behavior,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And, you know, one that I'm familiar with, and maybe, you know, we both experienced the negative blowback as a result of it, or, you know, or consequences of it. And so I'm giving you this reminder here. And so that feels like the kind of thing where that is absolutely related to the eye situation, maybe when she was at La La La. But, yeah.
And then we have that interesting moment where Kaburagi starts talking about what cuteness and the lie of it, like, why is it the ones who are considered exceptionally cute pop up? You know, it's the persuasive power behind their cuteness. And he starts going on this little, like, thing here about this. And he's like, maybe that's what the whole power is of an idol,
star
basically.
quality,
Yeah. He's like, I call that star quality.
There's a part of me that's like, yeah, that just sounds like you're talking about charisma.
Right.
But maybe applied charisma in this specific setting.
Yeah. And the idea that he laughs here, and he's like, no, I just thought of something amusing is all. But he doesn't ever reveal what that is.
And Kindaichi has the sweat mark. Like,
Right. Well, does he? No.
yeah, right there. Right there.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He does, yeah.
Yeah.
But then he says, which kid do you consider promising, Kinchan? Basically being like, the segue from the thing that I thought of that's amusing.
Right, now let's
leads
talk
to
about
me
that.
being like, hey, you know, this is a thing you do. You notice promising kids, you know?
Right.
And it feels a bit, you know, a bit innocent, but it also feels like if I'm reading too much into it, I could see, or maybe a little bit more than what's intended, I could see something barbed in there as well. And so he's just being professional. He's like, yep, no, Kurakawa was, you know, pretty polished already, but,
Yep.
you know, Akane, she did some really incredible stuff today. So that was wonderful. But, you know, besides her, I'm personally intrigued by,
Oh, hey,
you know,
Aqua.
cuts immediately to Aqua's poster. Fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Which makes sense. Like,
Yeah, I just love where that's going to potentially lead.
Yeah. Also, the
The ginger ale gag.
the ginger ale gag and it always being in the shot. Like, I know that's probably like a thing that's like a rule that they have to do for like in the manga where it's like, hey, this person isn't actually drinking. You know?
It's definitely a censorship, not a censorship,
Content.
it's a content
Yeah.
thing to make sure that your material doesn't get locked away into mature stuff, so that you
It's not-
can't distribute it to every
Right. We're not demonstrating
medium.
the characters doing something illegal here.
Yes.
You know, of like drinking when they're, you know, clearly kids, right? But, you know,
right.
yes.
But there is
Kana-
also a very clear difference of Kana being like the youngest of the like non-Aqua Ruby kind of characters here, and that
Right, and
like,
she's got the different
Memcho is an
kind of
adult, you know,
glass, yeah.
like Akane is you know, quite a bit older. So at least I believe she is.
She might be the same age.
I'm trying to remember. There was a point.
If they had the child acting thing and they
Yeah.
like they met there, then I can't imagine they're that different in age because
It's possible, yeah.
the years really mean a lot, you know, when
Yeah.
you're that tiny.
Yeah. But okay, we've
Yeah.
got a nice thread to pull on here. Mm-hmm. And all this to say, this is happening in the same episode with the goated animation of the
Right.
actual final scenes of the play.
Which were incredible.
And also Aqua confronting
Yeah,
the
full
demon
on,
within.
personaing, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're me,
Yep. Yep.
So, no, you're not me.
Way to go. You unlocked your persona. You know?
Right. I loved that the form coalesced into child Aqua,
Right.
not into Goro.
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
I love the idea that regret and the feeling of powerlessness go hand in hand, because sometimes we apply powerlessness as a secondhand thing to our regretful moments to convince ourselves that there was nothing we could have done. And that can be a negative thing.
Sure.
Or there's also the powerlessness then being something where you can't face that side of yourself there, that you were actually powerless. So then you become super filled with regret. And I like that his is kind of a mix of that, because he was both the adult, but he's in the child's body. So there's the like, I'm literally getting the worst of both worlds here with this, where I was literally physically powerless to do anything.
Yeah, like,
but also I have this unlimited regret that I'm applying all that powerlessness to, because I was in the time of my life. Everything was going perfectly. How could I have known that all this...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I feel like if something like that were to happen, it would be, oh, the horrific thing happens when you're a kid. And then when you grow up and you're not a kid anymore, you're like, oh, effectively, why was I a kid? I should have been able to do something, right? And you don't really acknowledge that side of yourself, right? But here it's the, no. You were a kid, but you also weren't a kid. So you didn't even have that, staved off until you were able to look back and have a double standard, right?
Right.
Like, you had it from the get-go.
Yeah. I also love that Akane was able to effectively reincarnate Ai in the way that when she was, introduced way back when, kind of carrying that spirit there because of what Aqua sees in her, and was able to elevate her acting by his more genuine performance, which again, love. You said it like twice or three times now, but I love that his real genuine acting came when she came back to life, not when she died.
Which feels so obvious to me, right?
Yeah, it feels so
in
obvious.
hindsight, because I was actually surprised when it turned into the, oh, she dies and then he's going to fight. I'm like, oh, okay, no, that makes sense for an action story. But I was expecting it to be more of the, oh, the grief, Right. But no, that's not what they're doing. Because, oh, hey, it's actually going to be the, when she comes back, that's where you see the grief that was there in the relief. But.
Which I want to bring up something really just wild theory here. But he brings up the idea of the miracle.
Right.
Of, what if,
Yeah.
Back then I'd been able to save Ai. Clearly, we need to accept that we are in a fantastical world.
Right.
Because we had reincarnation happen.
Yes.
But that's not actually the main part of the drama and the story.
Right.
That is just
was the premise. Yep.
In order to set up this drama and
We
story.
didn't see a bright blue butterfly that then he gets sent back in time and, he can save his mom.
No. But in this world, it is not untenable that I reincarnated.
That's true. And I will
I just want to throw it out there that in a lot of ways, that's kind of the point, is that she birthed these two kids that are going to carry that aspect of her spark, the little sparkle in their eyes. But it's what do they do with that? Who do they become in the midst of that? But it is still possible. And I mean, slightly more possible now because of this episode, in my opinion. But I mean, still, it's like 1 in a million chance.
Yeah. There was always the technical possibility, because supernatural stuff was established, that they could choose to do something like that. But this is where the concept was thematically established to make it actually have some poetry if they decided to do that. So that could be setting it up. Or it could just be nothing and it's part of Aqua's growth.
Right. I'd prefer it to be just a part of Aqua's growth.
Same.
But I had to say it. I had to say it.
I don't like when the tragic death that, galvanizes the entire rest of the story, then gets undercut with the person coming back to life.
Even if it's in some other misdirected way through reincarnation or something.
Right. It's like, no, that undercuts the whole point of the grief and all of that.
If you do that, you end the whole series and everything immediately. Just end it, you're done.
Yeah.
That's what you do at the very end.
But even then, that's like a...
But that's the only time you do it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. because it's just you know.
Yeah,
but I just had to throw it out there. But I thought it was very beautiful that he was able to live in that moment as if she was alive by acting.
Right.
And because he was acting, that means in that moment he enjoyed acting and did not have a panic attack. He did it! He did it!
Didn't realize it.
So fucking proud of him, though.
Yeah, good job.
Because,
and now maybe as you have these friends that are really close to you in various different ways that are really into acting and stuff, that will be able to be, you know, explored and discovered and focused on. And you'll,
maybe in just a wonderful,
have some
safe way
realization
amongst friends and everything, you know?
Exactly.
But no, he's going to be on his murder, revenge, mystery, thriller part of the story. And
which, hey, I mean, that's, yeah. Something like this is a nice little bit of respite. But it's not gonna undo a lifetime.
Undo all that.
You know, like it's not how that'll work.
I'm excited though for an intrigue arc. If we get that after this, and that's like the last like 3 or 4 episodes of the season, I'd be very happy about that.
I get the feeling we're probably gonna get a little bit of a revisit with Bikomachi. You know?
Oh, we need to.
Yeah, because we haven't like seen them at all this season.
No, totally. But I'm saying that's what Aqua's doing.
We
can still have them doing their stuff.
That's true. Yeah.
No, he takes over a live stream and is like, I need all of you to get DNA from every single member of the entertainment industry of Japan.
He has 500 followers online. No, he has 500 followers.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What a reference. That was great. That was awesome. But all right, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out our Patreon up there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there as well, and any level support gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. Also, be sure to check out our Twitch channel. So yeah, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.